play it all or nothing. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind out the muscle, pull up. Park it right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Nothing holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm a face. And when I roll a paper, I like to go double. Run up a check, flip a W, make it an M.
Welcome to Takeover, the most underrated sports debate show on YouTube, and we are back. It is Takeover from the crib, and we got a special guest today, my pops. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? First of all, I wanted to say thank you for inviting me on your show today. I am a day one fan. I've been watching you guys, and I'm proud of the work that you guys are doing. And thank you for letting me share this platform with you. So let's get it.
Of course. He said he wanted to smoke. Look, we had to offer it to him. All right. So we're gonna jump right into the show today. Starting with Jalen Hurts, a guy who's right behind you. He put on a great performance, beating the New Orleans Saints in his first start. What are our impressions of Jalen Hurts so far? What do we think?
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I am really not surprised at the things that I saw to Jalen Hurts on his first game as a starter for the Philadelphia Eagles. I've had the pleasure of watching Jalen Hurts play from the beginning in college up until where he is now. And I'm telling you, all this guy's ever done was beat the odds and win and make plays when needed. Whenever, he's been benched or things didn't go his way, he's always had his head down in his playbook, working hard to work on his craft. And here he is today doing the same thing that he did when he was in college. He doesn't try to do too much. That's one of the things about Jalen Hurts that stands out to me. He's a person that lets the game come to him. He's not going to make a whole lot of mistakes. He's somebody that's going to keep the defense in a position where the team can win the game. So Jalen Hurts on Sunday was phenomenal. He made plays with his feet. He only made throws when he needed to. I was very proud of him.
So let me preface all of this by saying I am personally a fan of Jalen Hurts. He is one of the few SEC players that I actively support. Part of that is my ACC bias and whatnot. But I was a huge fan of him because when he was benched, obviously he didn't transfer right away. He tried to fight for it. And then when he did transfer, he went crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and start my take. Did the Philadelphia Eagles win? Yes, they won. And Jalen Hurts deserves plenty of recognition for that because Carson Wentz has been awful this year. But was it because of Jalen Hurts? Partially, but he was at best a bit player in his own victory. He did go 17 of 30. He only threw for 167 yards, and he had an 83.6 quarterback rating. So he was solid, but more of it was Miles Sanders had 14 carries for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Philly defense finally showed up in a game. They forced 2 turnovers, and both of them put the Eagles in advantageous field position where they then scored. So they had 10 points off of turnovers. From the Duke Riley interception, which I'm surprised Duke Riley's still in the NFL personally, and then the Josh Sweat forced fumble. So I'm not going to take too much time. I think it's pretty simple. I think Jalen Hurts is a fantastic talent. I think he's got a long future ahead of him in the NFL. But this W was a team effort, so let's not coronate him as the future of the Philadelphia Eagles just yet. All right, he's still got a ways to go.
All right, I'll go ahead and take it. I think he looked really good versus the NFL's best defense. He had 167 yards passing and 115 yards rushing. He showed that he was extremely versatile and can get it done. But, I feel like this was such a galvanizing team effort. Not take away anything from Jalen, but, it was like when Tua first started. Like the whole team helped, like the whole team showed up. When the Eagles have a defense that can stop the run now? When are the Eagles this potent in offense? And I feel like that's what really changed a lot of the game, to be perfectly honest. And they really felt in sync. I feel like they really went out there to play for Jalen Hurts. My only question with Jalen Hurts is that I know he had a good game here, and this is the NFL's best defense. How is he going to do when teams have more film on him? Because, it kind of could be like the Taysom Hill situation. The Falcons went against the Taysom Hill. They had no film on him, and Taysom Hill looked great. And then you see week by week it starts to minimize because people are seeing more and more about Taysom Hill. Will the same thing happen to Jalen Hurts? I'm not sure. One thing I can tell you from watching a whole lot of Jalen Hurts, from seeing him play a lot in that 2017 season at Alabama and a lot of that 2018 season, is that he's gonna be a guy who doesn't turn over the ball, but is he gonna be a guy that can ultimately just win you the game? He hasn't really shown me he could do that over and over and over again. So that's the only thing with me. Can he continue to push the ball downfield when defense are adjusting? When people are gonna say, "Look, we're not gonna allow you to run. Just beat us with your arm." Is he gonna be able to do that? And the question is, I don't know. I hope he can personally, but I definitely have to see more of Jalen Hurts.
Well,
Oh.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. But you guys have some really good takes. You guys basically summed up a lot of the stuff that I was gonna say. But what the NFL, we know that it is known for being what have you done for me lately type of team. And if we're comparing that to Wentz, I think it makes perfectly good sense to bench Wentz and to put Jalen in. But Wentz wasn't the only problem. Of course, Philly had some improvement to do overall. You had receivers who were dropping passes. You had the O-line who wasn't consistent, and you had the play calling who just needs improvement overall. But I really like Jalen for the simple fact that he was able to come in the same circumstances that Carson Wentz could not play under, and he was able to perform as well. He was able to sense pressure. He could escape the pocket, and unlike Wentz, he doesn't force things that could not happen. And when you look at the game that he played against the Packers, they didn't win the game, but he was able to give his team a spark. And when he went against the Saints, a game that was supposed to be really garbage time for the Saints, and he went against one of the toughest defenses. He not only performed, but he was able to get the win as well. And I'm not saying you're supposed to get rid of Wentz because we only seen like a game and a half of Jalen, but if he continues to play the way that he's playing, I don't see why I put Wentz back in for the rest of the season.
Good luck getting rid of Carson. I don't think anybody wants to pay him $30-something million.
Yeah, his contract is that's the problem.
I thought you guys made some very good points. And one of the questions that you just asked Cam was, how is he going to develop going forward once people start game planning for him if he is to be the starter? I think Doug Peterson is he'll be the starter. And what I like to point out to you guys is to look at the past with Jalen Hurts. Whenever he struggled, Jalen Hurts is a fighter. He's somebody that's going to get out there and work on his craft to get better. When he lost his job to Tua, what did he do? He lost his job because he couldn't throw the ball down the field, and he was just looking at Calvin Ridley the entire game and not looking at other receivers. He had to learn how to go through his progressions, how to scan the defense, and how to get the ball down the field. And as he moved on to Oklahoma to play, those are the things that he progressed, and that's what ultimately landed him in the NFL. So when you ask how's he going to perform when teams start game planning for him, I think he's going to get better. Jalen Hurts really has a very strong work ethic, and he really works hard at what he tries to do. So when teams start game planning, he'll start making the adjustments as well. I think he'll be fine, and I think he'll do a great job as the quarterback. And I have no idea how they're going to get rid of Wentz or what they're going to do with him.
I would like to pose one quick question, and no, I'm not asking for actual responses, but I want to see y'all's reaction. Are we saying that Jalen Hurts is better prepared to adapt than Lamar Jackson, so therefore he may end up being better than Lamar?
Yes.
I wouldn't say that. That's too far. We can act like Lamar didn't come out of the bathroom, pull a Paul Pierce, and win that game last night. So I don't know what you're talking about. He made some big throws to get him down the field, and then when Baker scored, he retaliated with 30 seconds left and put them in the field goal range. I think we got to put some respect on Lamar for last night.
Let's see him do it against an actual good defense, and then I will give him the props. But I said it on the show a few weeks ago. Cleveland has a god-awful defense. All right, sorry, I didn't want to take up too much time, but I thought I heard. That's what I heard. That's my new hot take now.
So LeBron James was on the Road Tripping podcast, and he says, I've been a part of two teams that won the two hardest championships in NBA league history. One obviously being the 2016 when they came back from the 3-1 deficit to the Golden State Warriors, and the 2020 NBA bubble. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I believe that LeBron James is half right, and here's why. I think the 2020 NBA championship was arguably one of the toughest finals to win because of the 4-month layoff, then the bubble, having to, live isolated from everybody, other than your teammates, and then having to deal with, the constant media attention on top of the highly politicized debates going on that LeBron and the entire NBA put themselves in. So the positive and negative and media attention definitely added to the stress that you would typically have to go through in a playoffs. But you cannot say that the 2016 title was one of the second hardest or the hardest to win. You cannot claim that one of your wins was the toughest when you put yourself in that position. LeBron's team was the one that went down 3-1. So you can't say that you had run a tough title when you put yourself in that position. On top of that, the cakewalk that he went through to get to that finals, I don't think should count. The man played a mediocre Pistons team where the leading scorer was Reggie Jackson. They played a Hawks team that was post 60 wins. And let's be honest, even when that 60-win season, the Hawks were playing over their heads the entire time. On top of that, in the Eastern Conference Finals, they played the pre-Kawhi Leonard Raptors, which we all know when they got to the playoffs, they turned into Barney the Dinosaur. So are we really going to say that was a tough title? He didn't really play anybody in the conference finals. If you're talking about tough titles, give me the 1999 or 2011 seasons when you had a shortened off season, shortened camp, and a shorter regular season, so it was harder to acclimate new people. Or give me anything that Boston won in the 80s or anybody in the East won in the 80s, because the 80s Eastern Conference was the best conference of all time when you had to go through any combination of the Sixers, the Bucks, the Bulls, the Hawks, the Pistons. I agree with the 2021, but there's no way that LeBron can say that the 2016 title was one of the hardest to win when he put himself in that position, because it didn't have to be like that.
It didn't have to be like that, Josh, but I think you're discrediting that LeBron played the best regular season basketball team of all time. They won 73 games for a reason. They had MVP Curry. They had Game 6 Clay. They had Defensive Player of the Year Draymond Green, who could shoot efficiently from the three at that time. And I feel like that was a tough finals to win. You said it was his fault he went down 3-1. I think that the Warriors may have jumped on them. I mean, that season, we all know the West has been way more stacked than the East in past years. It's not LeBron's fault that he was in the East and dominating over there. The West had dogs over there. The Warriors had to get through all that. And they came in there as the best team. And you look at what he did in that series, he averaged a triple-double. He put up 34-10. He put up 34, 12, and 10. Had the block versus Iguodala. Shot 49% from the field. The degree of difficulty to win three straight games versus a team with all that firepower is unbelievable. So I'm going to go ahead and count that as one. And I feel like the one that everyone's misconcepting is the one he did this year. I feel like the journey this year was tough as well. He's 35 years old. There's a global pandemic, so they're starting and stopping. We have racial unrest, so he has to become the captain of the NBA. He has to lead his team through all of this. And let's not forget all the games we counted LeBron James out. We said we got Dame Dollar. The Lakers can't shoot. Are they going to lose this series? 4-1. Oh, no. They play the best backcourt in history. It's Westbrook. It's Harden. They can score at rapid. Wait, 4-1. Hold on, Josh. Hold on. It's Jokic, the best passing center of all time. The best passing center of all time. The Nuggets come back from 3-1. They've done it twice. They're the team to beat. 4-1. And he goes to the finals. He doesn't have the journey is what he's talking about for this finals, because Miami it was kind of a foregone conclusion, especially when Dragic went out. So comparing those two things, I think he's had to go through the most to win these two championships than any other player.
I really agree with Josh on this take, to be honest with you. I think LeBron is partially right in terms of playing in one of the hardest finals. I do want to give him credit for coming back against a very good Golden State Warriors team, down 3-1, and leading this team to a championship. And this year was a very, very tough situation for everybody due to COVID, having to leave your families and be stuck in basically a resort area for months on end at a time. That's tough mentally to be able to get out there and prepare. But where I have to draw the line and not give LeBron credit is because LeBron always gets to handpick his team. Everybody that plays for the Lakers, LeBron gets to handpick. Anthony Davis, he stole them from the New Orleans Pelicans, okay? He went out there. Rich Paul, they went out there and they stole that man. And everybody on their team, LeBron gets to pick them. So, yeah, he should have won the finals. If I can go out there and pick my team every year, then I should win as well. He always has the edge whenever he's playing out there. So, no, I won't give him credit for that. And I also agree with Josh when he talks about the 1999 season, because it was a shortened season. But the thing about that, the New York Knicks, I think they were playing the San Antonio Spurs during that time. And the New York Knicks was an 8th seed. So that means they had to play every top seed to get there to the finals. Although they didn't win it against the Spurs, I think that was a tough final series for them. And if they had won it, then that would have been the best scenario where a team has the hardest finals that they won. But no, LeBron gets no love here with all of that. You know, we'll give him partial credit, but no, you don't have the say-so over what's the best finals story.
So when I think about what it takes to get to a championship, I take to consideration the road to the finals, not only the finals itself. So when I respect the 2016 finals, but because people like to act like because you don't agree with LeBron that you're hating on him, but it's whatever. But I still think that there is a finals that or even the road to the finals that is more difficult, which one of my favorites would be the 2011 Mavericks. I mean, Dirk didn't really have any co-stars. You see, he had Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Sean Marion, JJ Barea, Tyson Chandler. Compared to all the teams that he went against, they were not all NBA teammates. And then you look at the road to the finals with the Lakers coming off of 3 straight finals. That was not a team that fell off. That was a team that could have very much made the finals if they wanted to. And OKC with Kevin Durant, who was leading the league in scoring at the time with Westbrook and Harden. And then you had the big three, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. They weren't even supposed to get 60 wins, let alone make it to the finals. And then to talk about the 2020, the pandemic, I don't want to seem like I'm not empathetic or sympathetic to the pandemic, but there were no fans in the New York family, and I'm not putting an asterisk next to the win. However, you had a choice to play in the bubble, and Josh, you alluded to the time off that everyone had. Everyone else had the same amount of time. We often talk about how the season is too long. Well, you kind of had a break this time, and you could get some work done while you had the time off. And also everyone played in the bubble as well. Everyone didn't have family and friends there. So it wasn't just this one thing that the Lakers went through by themselves. I do think it does have effect mentally, as you stated, but I would like to ask this question. If it was like with Dame and the Blazers, or I would say the Nuggets or the Bucks, if they would have won the finals, would we be saying the same thing, that it was a tougher championship, or was LeBron just saying this to fit the narrative? I guess is what I would ask.
I don't understand what narrative. I mean, you could really be saying. You talk about the pandemic, like LeBron didn't even know who was going to be on his team. Avery Bradley had left. People are getting COVID left and right. He has to organize his whole game plan for his team. But going back to the 2016 finals, was knowing, I guess you guys aren't respecting right now. LeBron, you know how demoralizing it is to be down 3-1. The whole world has counted LeBron James out of this whole scenario. To not lose a game, to therefore average a triple-double, to put the whole team on your back and win that finals, that is, I don't see any other player in history that could do that. I feel like that has to be the highest degree of difficulty that any player has to go through. I mean, it's every game. Yeah, like the Warriors weren't bringing it. This Warriors team in the regular season and the postseason looked unbeatable. I don't even think they lost a game when they were in the playoffs. They were clean sweeping everyone. It was just a problem to face. So when you think about LeBron James and this win right here, the signature win where he comes back down 3-1, that has to be one of the greatest finals performances we have ever seen. I feel like you got to magnify that.
I'm not saying it's not one of the greatest finals performances that we've ever seen. I'm saying he said he won the 2 toughest finals. And I don't think you can say that you won one of the toughest finals when your team put yourselves in that position. You went down 3-1, and I know you're saying Golden State was fantastic. I agree. Golden State was the best regular season team of all time. But in the playoffs, you got to do what you got to do. So you can't say you went down 3-1, you came back, and therefore, well, we did the toughest thing. You put yourself in that position by losing 3 of the first 4 games. So
LeBron. Okay. Could it be said that the Golden State Warriors were a better team than the Cleveland Cavaliers?
On paper, sure, but these games aren't played on paper. They're played on the court.
On the, I think they were the better team. That's why the Cavaliers were getting beat 3-1. When you have Steph Curry, who is back-to-back MVP, when you have Klay Thompson, and when you have Draymond Green, who is probably the best perimeter defender at the point, and could shoot the three, that's probably a better team. They had the better team, you know what I'm saying? And so LeBron had to fight through all of that to get there.
Well, listen, we're not going to give LeBron credit for that either because, again, LeBron gets to pick his players. That year he fired his coach and got Tyronn Lue to be the head coach of that team during that year. So, listen, if he doesn't win the finals, it's a big flop if you ask me because he always gets it his way and what he wants. So, no, it's –
Thank you. Somebody else mentioned the fact that
I don't think I could this finals.
David Blatt was 30-11 and got fired.
Listen, it was a very entertaining finals, and I did enjoy watching it. And you're right. That is a very hard thing to do to come back from down 3-1. But I just cannot give a player credit for winning these championships when you hold the deck of cards each and every time. I just can't. I can't. Yeah. The NBA was not built to be this way. And when you get to go through the offseason each and every year, handpick the guys you want, fire your coach whenever you want. You can take your point guard, Kyrie Irving, off the ball and be the point guard because it's what you want to do. Then I expect you to win when you get to call all those shots. And when you don't, then it's a flop. Sorry. No.
I guess so. My thing is, I feel like that's the way the NBA is now. I feel like players are going to pick who they want to pick. We've seen Kawhi take away PG. We've seen a lot of players do that now. They kind of follow in the footsteps of LeBron James. That's the way the league is now. So as far as him picking the players, I mean – that's the way the league is now. That's how much power LeBron has.
And that's why he's picking the Clippers.
How did that work out for Kawhi? His whole team was not together at all. They're in dismay right now talking about how –
And they lost, right? They lost. And when LeBron won with it, though. LeBron won. LeBron doesn't need all that help to win. He won that game.
Just that time. He lose a few finals, so he flops sometimes, too.
He flops in the finals?
Yeah, he lost to the Mavericks.
Yeah.
The one that he pointed out.
That was one time. That was one time. Next season. What he do next season?
He beat a completely different team. He beat a team full of 23-year-olds. Cam, he beat a team full of 23-year-olds that had never made the finals.
That's fine, but I'm saying you're taking away all. But he didn't beat the Spurs, like he didn't beat the Warriors, like he didn't beat all these other teams. And you always talk about all these finals losses. LeBron James was a pup and beat those Detroit Pistons, beat those Boston Celtics to get there. LeBron had to fight through all the adversity to get there. It wasn't his fault that he didn't have no running mates, that he had Delonte West on his team, that he had all these other players on the team that wasn't getting it done. LeBron had to bring them there. So he was like, I need help because, look, I can't get it done with the rest of these guys. They're not helping me out.
Yeah, that's definitely what we want from a GOAT. I need help. Yep.
I mean, from a GOAT, is that where we're taking it now?
Hey, let's move on. We got a whole topic.
Yeah, okay.
We got a 30-minute episode about this.
Everyone needs help. No one's done it by themselves. But anyway, we have another video submission from one of our Takeover listeners. Go ahead and hear what my guy Austin had to say about the best backcourt in the NBA.
Hey, Takeover. My name is Austin, and I'm from Powder Springs, Georgia, and I'm one of Cam's friends. And on the last episode of Takeover, I heard Cam say Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal were the best backcourt in the NBA, which I think is completely false. They may be the best backcourt in the Eastern Conference, but in the whole NBA, you still have Chris Paul and Devin Booker still running around, and you have Dame and CJ still running around. Cam, Dame and CJ, they've showed what they can do to you in the playoffs. Ask Russ himself. And then Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Chris Paul is going to take Devin Booker's game to another level. I don't think Russ is going to take Bradley Beal's game to another level. So for you to say that they're the best backcourt off of hype, you got to think about how they're going to play together. I don't know if Russ and Bradley Beal are going to, they're going to let each other take over. I know Devin Booker will let Chris Paul take over, and I know Chris Paul will let Devin Booker take over. I know CJ will let Dame take over, and I know Dame will let CJ take over. But I do not know if Russ is going to take a back seat to Bradley Beal, and I don't know if Bradley Beal is going to take a back seat to Russ. So all be all, I do not think that Russ and Bradley Beal are the best backcourt in the NBA.
Okay, now that you've called out one of my takes, This is what I have to say to you. I'm just keep it off the rip right here. You said one of your points where I'm going off of the hype. I'm going off of something I haven't seen. And yet you just said the best backcourt would be D-Book and CP3. Have they played together? No. Have we seen them? No. Do we know what D-Book is going to be like when he's not the alpha and Chris Paul's running the whole entire offense? We don't know. We don't know what type of duo that is. Russ has shown he can sacrifice. For all that I've seen, Russ has had to sacrifice since he's got into the league. He's played with Kevin Durant. He's played with Paul George. He's played with Victor Oladipo, which I mean he really didn't have to subject much to him because, I mean, Victor wasn't the guy he was. Russ has been a willing passer. And you want to talk about Russ and the duos. Russ and James Harden were the highest scoring backcourt in NBA history, the highest scoring duo in NBA history. And who finished second behind James Harden in scoring last year? Bradley Beal with 30 points. Russ averaging 27, 8, and 8. CP3 came off a season where he was only averaging 17. And I'm not trying to take away anything from him, but I'm talking about the star power from this backcourt we don't see anywhere else. And I feel like that's what makes these guys the best. The last time Russ was paired up with someone who really doesn't need the ball and was a straight shooter, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. I'm not comparing anything of Bradley Beal to Kevin Durant, but I'm saying the style of just shooting, I don't need the ball, Russ do your thing, that has led to a lot of success. And as far as I heard the CJ and Dame shot, which was very cool, but let's not over evaluate CJ McCollum, because when you talk about a bucket getter, I think Bradley Beal is in a better conversation. Bradley Beal just last year had 11 40-point games and gave 2 50-piece games. I'm talking about 50-piece, lemon pepper, no ranch, all right? That's the type of games he was giving. And CJ has only had 7 40-point games his whole entire career. So you want to talk about a duo that can do it both, that can slash, that can shoot. This is the best duo in the NBA. I mean, not duo. This is the best backcourt in the NBA, and I definitely think you'll be able to show it when they play.
I agree with you, Cameron, because although he did talk about CP3 and Devin Booker, Chris Paul, he did lead OKC to the playoffs even when they weren't even sought to go anywhere, and he is a veteran that gets to work with these young players. But I'm just looking at Russ being the primary ball handler, and with him attacking the paint, the defense is going to fall because you have players on that Wizards team that can shoot from the 3. So when you get Russ and you want to defend him in the paint, that's just going to space the floor and allow other players to shoot. And their shooting percentages are probably going to go up, and Russ's assist percentage or assist is going to go up. So, and the Wizards were the number 13 offense in the league before Russ. So with Russ joining, does that make them a top 10 in the league? And plus, Beal is known for moving off the ball, and he could do damage in a non-ISO situation, which fits Russ good. So, but anyway, all of this stuff that we're talking about overall is we're just going to have to see and how it goes, because we see 2 great players come together, but sometimes that doesn't work. As you see with James Harden and Russ, they played well together, but they ultimately ended up splitting ways. So that's what I think about it.
Although I do think that Russ and Bradley will be a very good backcourt, and I think they'll have a lot of success. I like Portland's better. I really do. I think that Dame and CJ are a better backcourt. And I'm just going off of the stats. I just took a quick look, and it showed me that they both combined for 46.8 points in the regular season for their team. And that's really almost close to 50% of their scoring. So when you see a backcourt that can produce those kind of numbers for you, I have to consider them as being one of the best backcourts in the NBA. Not saying that Russ and Bradley can't produce those numbers and they won't be good, because I think that they will. But right now, I think if you want to put the best 2 out there in the backcourt, it'll be Lillard and CJ.
Not to interrupt your take, Josh, but just so you know, Pops, going off of, you just said they averaged 46 together, right?
Yes.
We're just going off of last season, and Russ and Bradley Beal have the same stats. They averaged 57 together. But go ahead, Josh.
Hey, Cam, I was going to set you forward. I was going to throw the lob. All right. Fine. All right. Since I'm last, y'all basically said everything. I agreed with you last episode, Cam, and this is the way that I worded it. We said they was the most talented backcourt, correct? So going based off pure talent, there's no way to step up to these guys. You have a former MVP and a former 30-point per game scorer. Do Dame and CJ form a better fit? Yes, I agree with that, because as Beal and Westbrook are both guys that typically score with the ball in their hands, especially the last 2 years for Beal because he's had to deal with the fact that he's had no John Wall. CP3 and Devin, do they on paper fit? I liked your point about we haven't seen them play either, so we don't know. That's very fair. But most talented, first of all, you also have to, going back to CP3 and Devin, CP3 is 35 years old, and Father Time is undefeated. Father Time is coming for the point guard at some point. It might not be this season, but it's going to happen eventually. Eventually, he's going to start to show age. I keep saying that all about LeBron, and it hasn't happened yet, but eventually it'll happen. So I don't think I have anything else to say, because based off pure talent alone, Washington has the best backcourt, which is what we said originally. I'm not saying they're the best backcourt or that they will have the best fit, because that's what it seemed like Austin was saying, was they're better fits in backcourts, but we weren't talking about fit. We're talking about pure talent.
I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb and say they will be the best backcourt this year.
All right, it'll be great because they'll be the 5th seed in the East, and then they get to lose because that's what Russ does in the playoffs, is he gets knocked out in the first round. So
sounds like player hate. It's cool.
I think I'm going based off of a large sample size.
But that's gonna wrap up our show. Pops, do you have anything to say?
No, man. Thank y'all for having me. I mean, I've enjoyed it. Sit around and talk sports. Me and Cam do it a lot. Go back and forth. So this was fun. Thank y'all for having me. Y'all keep doing y'all.
Josh, you got anything?
How about them Eagles, man? Doing what we couldn't do. Anytime I see the Saints lose or struggle, it's a beautiful day for me.
I'm sure it is.
Because we apparently didn't want to win a football game, so.
It's okay. We give the Chiefs this work this weekend. I want to see y'all hit me up then. But that's it for today's show. This was Takeover from the crib, and we out like that, man.
Hey, champ. Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind out the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass, we coming in, take over everything, run it up, not that holding me back, 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm a facing. When I roll a paper, I like to go double, run up a check, flip a W, make it an M.